Hey, tonight we are playing the Bathurst 250 in Project Motor Racing. Why am I doing this? This game has a very crippling problem with its online multiplayer right now, and there's no ETAs to when it gets fixed. Basically, if you're on PC and you try and join a custom lobby that someone on like PlayStation created, or you just try and join a ranked race, there's like a 50% chance you just will get instantly booted from the server. You just won't make it in ever. I'm affected by this bug. I cannot play my own game online, which is really fucked up. And it sucks because there's a guy in Australia who streams this game all the time who's running a really well-attended and pretty competitive V8 Supercars season with online custom lobbies in this game. And their season finale race is intended to be a 41-lap, 250-kilometer endurance race at Bathurst in the V8 Supercars, which I think are really, really good. And no matter how hard I want to join it, I can't join it. I mean, the online is just straight up bugged for me in this game. So I'm going to run the race offline against AI cars, and basically whenever they run their league race, compare the results and see how I'd shake out lap time-wise, pace-wise, strategy-wise, total race time-wise, whatever. That's literally my only option. Again, if you're new to my channel or you're returning and haven't watched my videos in a while, I left Straight 4 6 or 7 months ago, but I do genuinely enjoy Project Motor Racing and think this game's a lot better than people are giving it credit for. And in fact, I could go on a whole tangent of why I think this game got a bit of a strange shake among sim racing content creators and all that. I agree that the technical issues that plague this game really, really suck, and I'm affected by them myself, so it's really not fun. But underneath that, this is actually a pretty decent game. So we're going to run an offline race against the AI to show you that this game's pretty decent when everything goes okay. And see how we shake out in the Bathurst 250. Let's go. We're going to drive a Shane because, of course, the session's configured to be 10-minute quick practice, 10-minute quick qualifying, and then a 41-lap race. My pit strategy, I've kind of calculated ahead of time. I don't like wasting time in these videos poking around in settings menus. We're going to start with, I think, 85 liters of fuel and take 60 at the pit stop. I think you might be able to double stint the tires, but we'll see. That's going to be one of those things that we'll play it by ear as the race plays out. So, it's springtime in Australia when they run the Bathurst 1000. Average weather, normal time progression. We'll take the green flag around noon. 22 AI cars in the field, just to kind of simulate the turnout for a league race. Max AI strength because, of course. Let's go. Very easy to set up a race in this. I designed it to kind of be like NRO3. I know some people really like the AMS2 and Project Cars 2 super detailed weather settings. I think it's actually a little overkill. I kind of designed this to be reminiscent of NASCAR 03, where it's just super easy to just set up a race and get racing, really. So, we get 10 minutes of practice. Honestly, I'm going to try out my qualifying setup, see how we fare. So, 16 liters for qualifying, our pit setup. Let's load our pit strategy. That's our pit strategy. Off we go. What I should probably do, for whatever reason I didn't have a rearview mirror on. Should probably turn that on. Some cars you don't need it because there is a mirror that you can physically see in the cockpit. This car doesn't have that. So you gotta run a virtual mirror. Or the mirror itself is kind of off to the side. So, off we go with practice. Again, this is basically a mock qualifying run. Don't have tire blankets enabled. Take about a lap and a half to get the tires up to temp. So this is not the same setup that I put in the mod hub. I completely rebuilt the setup for the newer build of this car. So you pretty much have to. What are you doing? This car's a lot less erratic. than my old setup. It's a lot more planted. It's designed to be raced in some sort of endurance-style event. Same thing with the qualifying setup, too. This is designed to be comfortable to drive. And it is really quick. I put down a 2:03 in a video on my channel. And it was like a 10th off the real-life lap record here. At least for this era of car. This is a car of the future spec. I'm not really pushing right now. Just trying to feel the car out. It is practice. Probably don't want to clip the curbs on this setup. Can't really pass through here. So it's going to ruin the lap time. But again, we're just shaking down the car right now, and it feels pretty good. This is a pretty good setup. Holy shit. Come on. Thank you. Alright, so we'll have clean air to start the next lap. Or clear track in front of us. The guys online, I've seen her in the 205s and 206s. We'll do one timed lap, and then we'll skip ahead to qualifying. Don't want to waste too much time. So we clock in with a 209 again. That was following someone. That's pretty slow. And this car will only get faster as the tires heat up, too. Guess I want to do one more. Low fuel warning. Deep into the 205s. That's a pretty good place to start. We do need to make an adjustment, though. I'm kind of wheel hopping. That's because of this. So, in terms of standings, we're ahead by a second and a half. Let's simulate 2 qualifying. I don't think that's the right flag for Shane Van Gisbergen, but you do you. Alright. And I'm also Shane. Okay. I guess I'm evil Shane. Nah, I'll be me. Anyway, let's go qualify. Make sure it saved our brake pressure. It did. And try and put down a lap. Cold tires. But we know to expect that. Off we go. Why are you braking over the crest? Come on now. Maybe it's like the elevation change, like the car's catching a little bit of air plus cold tires causes it to panic, but that needs to be looked at. That sucks. I'm gonna catch this dude on my first lap. Looks like I got the brake pressure right, though. I'm not wheel hopping. Yeah, that brake pressure is close to perfect. Flying zone detection. Okay, tech talk. This is why I don't like when devs, when implementing cut track penalties, go off a hypothetical best delta and use that to detect whether you possibly cut the track or not, because if the guy who configured it is himself not a good driver, who is he to say that you went through that sector faster than what's possible with this car? And the same thing if you base it off of AI and what the AI is capable of, like you use the AI line to extrapolate what a theoretical you shouldn't be able to go faster than this time is. What if the AI is just slow? You know what I mean? Because don't forget, I'm running, like, it's me, first of all, and I'm running an optimized setup with optimized heights and stuff like that. So, like, I'm hitting speeds that the AI cannot hit at max difficulty on the default setup. So if you base the flying zone exploit logic off of what the AI is theoretically capable of doing at max difficulty, every other lap I run is going to be registered as Austin's too fast, he must be cheating. But no, the exploit detection was set by someone who can't drive and either used their own pace or the AI's pace, which is naturally slower than what a human's capable of when they're really going try-hard. And it's causing false positives. That's why I don't like using that tech for cut track detection stuff. Anyway, here's our first actual lap. But you guys get what I mean, right? If the person who sets the cut track logic or the theoretical best delta that would trip back-end flags that this person must be cheating, if they themselves are either slow or it's based off an AI that is slow, and you get someone like me who's both good and has a very good setup, it triggers false positives. And that only gets worse as you start doing cars with, like, downforce and stuff like that. Turbochargers. Prototypes, this happens a lot because, you know, someone just finds something in relation to aero and excess mechanical grip and something that just unlocks a new level of performance with the car. That, let's say, even the devs or the gameplay coders just weren't aware that was possible. You can run into issues where just raw pace triggers false penalties. And that's what happened there. Anyway, we got a couple laps of fuel left. You know what sucks is I'm probably going to run into this guy. I really want to put down a monster lap. I'm going to have to back up so I don't run into this guy. Yep. And we are only going to have a single lap because I don't have enough fuel for 2 more laps. Okay, lukewarm tires. Let's try and go for a pole lap. Off we go. Bad final corner, but you know what? All things considered, that was a pretty good lap. 2:04.3. And I don't think we have enough gas to make it around. Let's try it. We might run out on the final corner. On average, we're burning 3.4 liters a lap here with my setup. Man, feels gonna be close. Yeah, look at that. We ran out. But we're on pole anyway. Oh god, what's going on? The AI just took control of my car. Okay. It took control of my car and tried to pit. And just started slamming the wall. Okay. That's an interesting bug. Never seen that before. 2:04.3 to 2:05.8. And there was probably more in it. So, we'll click next. Get a fresh car, hopefully. And run the race. Yeah, there's a fresh car. So, vehicle setup. I will show you what I did. Hold the 41 lap setup. These are all my settings. You want to pause the video, copy them. That's what we're doing. Engine and drivetrain, 85 liters. We're going to start with 85. We're hitting about 3.4 per lap. We are. Pit setup. Loader strategy. Steering wheel. That's fine the way it is. That's what our tires are at. Let's go run the race. So the fuel window is about halfway to 2/3 distance. This is a pretty easy race to run. I know it's a rules package for an online league. For them, this is the longest race of their season. But for me, this is just like an 80-minute race. 80 minutes, one pit stop. It'll be interesting to see if we actually need tires at the break or not. We'll just kind of eyeball it based on pace and things like that. But anyway, let's go. One more check of fuel. 85 liters, yep. Pit setup, 60 liters, yep. Let's go. Cold tires start the race. This will be interesting. We're away. What the fuck? What is the AI doing? Okay. So, this is stint 1. And they're just braking on a straightaway. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to turn down the brake pressure from 90 to 80. I'll live with it, though. It's not a big deal. I think we'll be into the 205s now in this lap. This race basically isn't even close, but I'm gonna run it out anyway. Nothing better to do. A bit disappointed by that. The pole sitter just nicked the curb and looped the car on the start of the race. And it seems like the AI cars are braking over the crest, so they're losing like tons of time per lap. Tires are holding up pretty well. Into the 205s now. We might, doing the math here, we might lap the field before our first pit stop. Kind of a bad lap. I was getting text messages on my phone. So I was looking over at them. Alright. Let's, get back on our rhythm here. Try not to hit the curb. There we go. Let's try a bias adjustment. I want to brake a little harder. That feels okay. Quarter distance. And yeah, we're 100% on pace to lap the field by halfway. Or at least a portion of them. Brake bias change was the right one. Fronts aren't working as hard and it's not wheel hopping anymore. I could probably go more aggressive, actually. That wasn't really my bad. The shock was still oscillating from clipping the curb when I jumped on the brakes. The tire wasn't in contact with the ground. Now, because I don't want to deal with lap cars, I'm basically going to pit when I catch the back of the pack. Optimize my total race time that way. So you're going to lose time passing lap cars, right? I'm just really disappointed right now. This race is really boring. I'm just clicking off laps to finish it, really. What's frustrating is the car actually handles great. Ricardo did a really good job on this, but like... First of all, there's two problems with the AI. I believe when I left, they did a couple things to de-Austinify this game. First thing they did is they took out the garage menu scene. It was like an art direction thing, or a style direction thing. And the second thing they did was they nerfed the AI. The AI used to be calibrated to me on the default setup, so it was pretty quick. I think they got complaints online from pad drivers that spooked them. That said, the AI is too quick on Authentic, I can't finish career mode. But the point of Authentic difficulty was basically to run my speed on the default setup, and it was kind of like the ultimate challenge in the game. Like, this is how quick people are on Top Split. If you run Authentic career mode, it's basically a way to play online without playing online, and it's to see genuinely how you stack up against other cars. So it was calibrated to me. I think they got too many comments from people who can't drive or on pad saying, well, I want to play Authentic career mode, but it's too hard. So they nerfed the AI. So that's like the first major issue here, is that the AI overall got nerfed. Now the second thing, this is public knowledge, so I'm not violating any NDAs here. They did lay off a decent number of the staff, like, a week after this game launched. So, like, the AI gremlins we saw at the start of this race, where it, like, clipped the curb and spun out after throwing a really retarded block on me, and then was brake checking on a straight because it went over a mild crest. I don't think they have people to test anymore. Just based on what I'm reading online. So there's no one to really give the AI any TLC because they had to get rid of a bunch of people. So, like, not only does the AI not have pace, there's also no one to fix it. Or fix, like, the major gremlins, I should say. So, like, now I'm just checking out. And without going into a lot of detail, Straightforward fumbled a couple things like that, where they would be handed something and being like, this is how it works. And would get in their heads about it being too elitist or something. Stuff like the AI difficulty. Again, this was calibrated to match me. I'm not an alien. I'm competent. The aliens are in esports competitions. The AI was calibrated to match me on a default setup, which is pretty quick. But beatable. It's a realistic depiction of what, like, top split pace is in online races. And the moment I was gone, they're like, nope, Austin was too elitist, so they nerfed the AI. And as a result, I'm in 16 laps at Bathurst, really without pushing that hard. I'm almost a minute ahead of the AI. Like, I could never do a full Bathurst 1000 in this, or even a 500 race. I mean, I would be several laps ahead just driving competently and not making mistakes. And it was pretty pacey. If you watch, like, the first gameplay video, or the gameplay trailer for this game, of me driving the Celine at Mossport, that was original max difficulty, where it's like, you are right on pace with the AI cars, and you might get by one guy per lap if you nail the lap and get a good run on him off the corner in, like, a designated passing zone. Does that make sense? Like, you actually had to drive it realistically. It was really good. And at some point, I think they got in their heads and said, nope, that's actually impossible, let's nerf it. Well, now every competent driver out there, and they do exist, just kicks the shit out of the AI. And there's no way to make them faster. So you're just stuck with this. And then again, you have the actual AI bugs, like what we saw in the start. Car randomly cuts across my nose for no reason. He was on the preferred line. Takes the corner too sharply, spins the car out. Like, what the fuck is that? They may have listened to the fans' complaints about road racing not being exciting enough, and just gave the AI some sort of traits where they switch lines more often, because that's all configurable, right? But that's something you need to put your foot down and say, road racing doesn't work like that. How do I know? Because I've been road racing in Sims for close to 10 years now. Basically, since my ban off iRacing, I had to switch to go road racing. And, like, there's just stuff you don't do in road racing if you're an actually good driver. You don't make boneheaded passes, you don't throw blocks all the time. You basically stick to the preferred line until you get a run on a guy in a preferred passing zone. That's it. So I believe they started doing shit with the AI to make it more lively. And, like, it looks cool in a 3-lap race. But it's also not how these races actually play out, and it misfires in weird places, like we saw on the start of this race. So to appease, I guess, the arcade or the Simcrate crowd doing, like, 5-lap races, they made the AI almost intentionally erratic, and now it misfires. And then there's just long-standing bugs, too, like we saw in the first lap, the AI going over this crest, they would just jump on the brakes. Well, that's a bug that actually needs to be dialed out. That's not correct. But they probably don't have anyone they can dedicate to it, because they got rid of a bunch of people right when the game launched. And it also means there might not even be testing this thing, because, like, this is a pretty common combination. You know, V8 Supercars at Bathurst, like, this is where you'd run these cars. And this thing was released as a free piece of DLC, so, like, someone should have been running at least a couple races here before that car got released as free DLC to, like, test if the AI would look okay. And, like, that is noticeable the first 10 seconds of the first lap. Right? So to not notice that at, like, a common marquee track car combination, someone's not testing. And there might not even be anyone to test. Now, Aris is good at what he does, but reading between the lines just based on what they put out, it seems he was just brought on board to just make tire compound changes. So, like, he's off doing something else. He's not looking at that. It's just frustrating. Because, I mean, look at this race. Like, this race has been over basically since I took the green flag. Car's lightening up. Let's move the bias back. And yeah, you know what? I don't think I'll need tires. We'll eyeball it over these next few laps because we are getting close to the pit window. I'm not really losing pace. I'm losing pace because I'm talking. But I don't think I'm losing pace because of the car. We'll give a couple more laps with this brake bias setting, and that'll determine whether we get tires or not. Actually, you know what? Those rears are about 30% worn, 35% worn. Yeah, we might need tires. Okay. Yeah, you know what? I'm losing too much speed. So. Let's actually pit now. Pit speed is 60. I probably clicked the limiter on too quick. That wasn't bad. And off we go. Stint 2. Now remember, gotta move the brake bias rearward on the main straight. And then shift it backwards as the car lightens up. Or shift it forwards as the car lightens up. Halfway. It's weird the AI haven't pit yet. Like, you need to. Bad spot to sneeze. Now we're starting to put down some laps. The tires basically have a sweet spot in this car. Yeah, I genuinely don't think the AI have pit yet. And they should be getting close, too. Yeah, they're just braking over the crest. Braking over the crest again. It's not where you brake. Like, there's spots where I'm on the gas and they're braking. Because it seems like anytime the car gets light, they panic. They're like, oh my god, I'm going off a jump, but you're not. You're not. These guys should be pitting, like, soon. Don't know why I'm not seeing anyone pit. Yeah, like, you don't need to brake through there, my man. And you know what's interesting is outside of those two problem zones, like, they actually have okay pace. But they're getting spooked by elevation changes. And, like, any elevation changes. Basically, anything that unloads the shocks, the car thinks it's in the air and they panic. Like, oops, the shock's unloaded a little bit. Gotta jump on the brakes. Remember, this is max difficulty. And some weird micro stutters there. Lost a lot of time having to go through lap cars. Car's lightening up, so move the brake bias forward again. Yeah, I don't think the cars are pitting, and like, you need to. Old tires are such a disadvantage that they're just losing crazy amounts of lap time. I'm now trapped behind these guys. Like, what are you doing? I'm basically just sandbagging now so I don't get into trouble and run into an AI car. Okay, when this race ends, we're gonna have to check if the AI pit. I don't think they did. Again, it's a 100-liter tank. So, like, I started with 85. And I've burned more than 15 liters since the last stop. I've been out here for a while on the second stint. And I have yet to see the AI cars pit. Guys, that is not where you brake. Okay, finally, we got a car pulling off the pit. That is deep into the race. Holy shit. That was actually cool. RoboShane did a good job of yielding me there. I think it's because I got by him in a choke point and he said, okay, I'm going to prioritize letting him by rather than wrecking the car because there's no need. Yeah, I'm just going to throw this out there. I don't think the AI cars are affected by fuel. They used to be. I know for a fact they used to be, but like, if they're pitting this late, they used more than 100 liters of fuel, which means they're pitting for tires. Again, car holds 100 liters. I started with 85. When I topped up, I got to 80. Again, in the tank. I've burnt more than 100 liters. Significantly more. Like, I burnt like 120. And only now we're starting to see cars pit. And actually, even then, some aren't. Well, I was on a good lap. That's been ruined. Let's see if I can lap the whole field. And it looks like I'm going to. Okay. P2 did pit. That's good. He went way longer than he should have. Now I'm starting to wonder, okay, did the AI either not pit, and we're just that slow, or did they pit twice? We'll see. Only got 4 to go. Almost walled it there. Tires are starting to go and the car's lightening up. Let's check on the tires. Like, they're definitely worn. Like 20% wear, but it's a big 20%. And that's effectively when they stop working. They're also a little on the cold side too, but you can't really help that. It's because of the track layout. Oh yeah, tires are definitely going. But we prepared for it, we don't have to deal with this for 2 laps. Put some more front brake into it. And basically just sandbag the final couple of minutes. Now we're starting to lose heat in the tires. Bathurst is a weird track like that. The straight's cool, the tire's down. So they're always kind of lukewarm. One to go. Wheel hop. It's alright, we've got a ridiculous lead. Big wheel hop. And the tires are going too. I mean, look at the rears. Alright. Race over. That was pretty painful. Does it show the amount of pit stops they made? Yeah, I mean, look at these lap times. Like, this is max difficulty. Their best lap was a 2:09. I'm in the 2:05s. So I guess we'll wait for the race to finish officially and then give my thoughts. Again, I'm just waiting for the formal ending to this. Then I'll give my thoughts and stuff like that. That's your reward for getting through this video. Is it gonna end the race? It should. I mean, everyone else is in the pit. I don't really know what happened here. Okay, we'll click Finish Weekend. No, let's quit to the main menu. Okay. The race isn't progressing. Being like, congrats, you won. Did you have fun? It's not giving anyone else a total race time. They're just sitting in the pit forever. Like, they completely timed out. Oh, someone else is running. Okay. In terms of the car and the force feedback, the car is perfect. I wouldn't change the car. In fact, if you see in future updates this thing being given further, let's say, tire compound tweaks, I mean, it genuinely didn't need it. So, that's kind of a litmus test to show where their priorities are. If they continue to tweak this car or talk about updating it, I'm telling you right now, they didn't really need to. The car's in a really good place. So if you see this thing being updated for whatever reason, my personal opinion is it's just a marketing thing. Like, you don't need to. Kind of a waste of time. The car's really good. It drives phenomenal. It hits realistic lap times. I had fun driving it. In terms of FFB, look, I run a G29. It's always felt good to me. I just turn up the dampening a bit. It's worth noting, at least in my racing experience, most race car steering wheels, whether it be your Sport Compact or a late model or a Legends car, that's what I've driven in real life, force feedback is really numb. And the wheels are really light. Because the goal is to have the driver not get tired in the cockpit. It's only stuff without power steering, like go-karts and Indy cars, that should be like, oh fuck, this is kind of tiring to drive. So for that reason, like, I don't mind using a Logitech G29. I think that force feedback, the way it feels, is fine. I think people are falling into traps. And I've seen comments about this game's FFB, talking about how they can never get it to feel quite right. This is just what happens when you own a boutique sim steering wheel and have something that costs $500, $1,000, $2,000 and your own profiler software to fart with on top of whatever sliders the game gives you. You will be just in this endless pit of hell. You'll be in Dante's Inferno trying to set the thing up, and it'll never feel quite right to you. Because you bought something that's too complicated for its own good. That's why I run a G29. The other thing with this, too, is that if you're waiting for FFB to tell you what the car is doing, you're actually driving it wrong. If you're waiting for the car to respond, you're behind the car. If you're waiting for the steering wheel to do something to tell you how you should be driving, you're driving the car wrong. You're behind the car, you're behind the force feedback, you're not driving correctly. So, you can get yourself into traps there, but long story short, the car is really good. FFB is really good. All the stuff I did setup-wise made sense. What happened over the course of 2 stints made sense to me. Bathurst has got a couple long straights, so the tires were cooling down. And the turns on the mountain aren't that intensive, so it wasn't really warming up the tires a whole lot. Basically, everything I did just made sense. No problems with the car at all. Again, if they tweak it, it means they're prioritizing probably the wrong thing. That's a little frustrating. Again, I'm having problems getting into online races at all, which is why I did this offline race. That should be prioritized. You shouldn't be just throwing your hands up in the air and be like, I don't know why people can't get into races. It must be a your thing. It's not a your thing. I can get into every racing sim online without issue. I can do weird shit like play Dolphin online with my friend, Roller Coaster Tycoon online with my friend. Nothing happens. You know? This is the only game I can't play online. It's 6 or 7 months into it. I don't know what the issue is. In terms of the AI, I mean, the AI is indicative of a much larger problem. This team did lay off a decent chunk of the staff about a week after the game came out. So, I don't know the exact specifics, but it's very likely there's just people not around to test this stuff or work on the stuff that you would like to see improved. I mean, I'm just taking a shot in the dark here. That's what a layoff indicates. So, some of the AI stuff I ran into is indicative of that. Like the car's braking over crests. The car's running 209s when a good time here is actually a 205 and then a 204 in qualifying trim. That means genuinely probably no one on the staff even tested this combination before they launched this car. Serious. You don't have to test every car on every track, but like, the V8s live at Bathurst. Go test Bathurst. The GT3s, go run them at the Nordschleife. go run them at Daytona. You know what I mean? Do, like, the key combinations people are going to try and you might spot some shit. They're braking on the straightaways. Why that might be, I really don't know. But, again, when you see cars' brake lights lighting up on a straightaway, on a place where you do not tap the brakes ever, that's something you'd catch in testing. If it's not caught, it means there's people not testing it. Simple as. Some of the AI stuff, the overall pace, when you factor out the braking stuff, it's still a little on the slow side. And this, I personally believe, don't take this the wrong way, but I personally believe this was to de-Austinify the game. Internally, you know, this isn't really NDA stuff, but they weren't fans of me having the garage scene in the game. They thought it was too simcade, genuinely talked about in that manner. So when I left, they took out the garage scene. The other thing they talked about is that when I would do AI benchmark times, the AI at 100 was benchmarked to be my pace on the default setups. The way they discussed it was always kind of weird, if that makes sense. They acted like I was this supreme being, almost, and that any lap time I put down ever, whether it be groggy at 8:30 a.m. on a Monday morning, or having warmed up, they'd acted like I was some sim racing god, and I'm not. I'm reflective of most people in Top Split. That's it. And there's lots of people out there like me. Lots of people. I mean, you can check iRacing stats to see iRacing or iRating distribution and stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of people out there like me. But internally, they were convinced I was just some alien that could drive any car on any track and put down inhuman lap times. Why that is because a lot of the guys on the staff were not super strong drivers. So as a result, the AI calibrated to what's essentially top split speed. They interpret it as, this AI is too difficult, we need to nerf that. So when I left, one of the first things they did based on the patch notes was nerf the AI at 100%. Well, guys, GTR2 was 20 years ago. People are pretty good at Sims now. A spirited sim racer who's skilled can play this game at 100%, and the AI puts up a decent challenge. But you can still beat them. So when you nerf that original 100% skill, you've actually knocked it down to like 80. And we are just smoking the AI cars as a result, even when there's no like glitches and stuff like that. So I believe, yes, to de-Austinify the game, they nerfed the AI basically to be petty, and thinking that no one's that fast, Austin's just a god. Guys, there's a lot of other people out there like me. And now the AI is just too fucking slow. I wasn't really pushing hard that run. That's what it looks like when someone knows Bathurst. There's going to be a lot of Australians playing this game when that DLC comes out who wheel it around Bathurst just as quick, and they're going to be like, why is the AI like 5 seconds off pace, you know? This is Australia's Daytona. This is Australia's Nürburgring. This is Australia's Sebring. Guys who've grown up for 20 years playing this track in like Toka Race Driver 3 and stuff like that are going to get this and be like, why is the AI fucking 4 seconds a lap off pace? That's why. On top of bugs they haven't caught because there's no one testing them, because a chunk of the staff got laid off, the AI is just overall too slow. I think there's some kind of glitch. Again, the race is not progressing as it should to the post-race state, because it's not giving a total race time to any of the AI cars. Something is fucked with pitting. Like, something really bad is fucked up with pitting. I genuinely think not everyone pit the race, and I think what happened is they all pit on the last lap as some kind of bug, and the race is actually now stuck in this weird, like, not post-race state, but post-race state. Basically, there's a cooldown state where it waits for everyone to finish, and there's a proper post-race state. We're stuck in the cooldown phase right now. Something is really fucked up with pitting. And then the last thing, the AI lines that basically ruined the race when we first got started. Again, a little bit of insight. This is a reward for sticking with the video. The original AI in this game is built to road racing spec. Now, I've been road racing in Sims for 10 years, and have won pretty much everything. #1 rated North American driver on AC. Won a bunch of race-to-play seasons back when this was a thing. Like, after my iRacing ban, I went road racing. I was really good at it. The only thing I didn't win was the 2.4 hours of race rooms Nürburgring. I finished second, which is pretty cool. Here's how road racing works. You ride in a line, and you wait until, like, the 2 or 3 passing opportunities on the track to make your move. And if you can't make your move, you just keep riding in a line. Why? Because every time you go side by side with someone in a corner, it wastes time on the delta. Every time you block someone and you get in a pissing match with someone, you waste time on the delta, and the car in front of you just gets further and further away. It's inefficient to launch passes and treat the race like a Days of Thunder movie where there's just constant NASCAR-style passing. It's a dumb way to drive, and then watching like old ALMS footage, that's what ended up showing up on the score sheet, as well as like the Speed Vision or Speed Channel broadcasts. They ride in a line. It's boring. That's sports car racing. That's why they don't have big TV numbers, and that's why NASCAR and Supercross and monster trucks and drag racing are significantly more popular in North America. Sports car racing's fucking boring. Road racing's boring. It is. So we put that into the game, and a lot of people didn't like it. But that's kind of what all the AI was fine-tuned for, is to make realistic-looking road racing with passes occurring where they naturally should. What ended up happening, I think, after launch, is that they got enough feedback from basically just kids coming over from Gran Turismo and Forza and stuff like that. I think what ended up happening is they listened to their comments a little too on the nose. It'd be like someone complaining that FIFA needs to be 6-5 every match instead of 1-0, so that's how most soccer games are. It'd be like, you know, a kid complaining there's not enough goals being scored in FIFA, and then just fucking with as much AI stuff as you could to produce crazy shit on the racetrack, but it's broken a bunch of things. And you saw it at the start of this race. Took the green flag, and the AI had a clear shot going into turn 1, had the entire racetrack to himself, and instead of holding his line and taking the preferred line into the corner, he just randomly threw a block. For no reason. 10 seconds into a hour-and-a-half long race, hugged the inside in like this weird defensive stance to make it look cool and Hollywood-like and wreck the car. Like, you would never do that. But that is probably a knock-on effect result of the team taking 2 giant swings at some of the AI values to make them racier, and starts misfiring. All because some ADHD kid who wanted a 5-lap NASCAR-style race in a circuit racing simulator built on multi-hour endurance sports car events, all because he said this game needs to drive like Days of Thunder and have all the AI doing crazy moves and stuff all the time, so it feels like you're in a movie. Congrats, you fucked up my race. Thanks.